So I've always been kind of hard on the Rocky movies because the way that they fight doesn't really follow any fundamentals of boxing.
What they're getting, and I don't know. A right hand, it's Creed. Now it's southpaw. It's Creed. Now a tremendous left by Creed. They're standing dead in the center of the ring, toe to toe. I don't know why the champion is fighting Creed.
They've always sacrificed accuracy for a good shot. They make the punching look good for the camera. Recently, though, I was like, you know what? This is fine. Because if they went with boxing that was completely accurate, you would just get fights where guys hug the whole time.
Fury opening up towards the end of the first round. The action heating up.
The record really means much. What matters is what you do against those guys.
This round, I think he understands the urgency to try to move forward on this card.
Because MMA is definitely the superior combat sport. Heh. And I would say any boxing fans that disagree with me, fight me about it. But you know what? I don't feel like hugging it out for 20 minutes. Heh. Well, Adonis Creed is retired, and he's living the good life being a father and a husband. Suddenly, a blast from the past shows up. His old buddy Damien. Damien just got out of prison, and he's got a bit of a score to settle with Donnie. So these two gotta sort it out in the only way that they know how. With their fists! Michael B. Jordan is an older, wiser Adonis Creed. He's a family man as well as a celebrated former champion. Now Damien's back, and all the old shit from his past that he just buried deep is rising up to the surface. So now you got this guy who's dealing with this inner conflict as well as the physical manifestation of it standing right in front of him looking to square up. I gotta say, Michael B. Jordan was fantastic in this. I think it is my favorite performance of his. And directing wise, very impressed. This brings us to Damien, played by Jonathan Majors. Holy shit, dude. I watched him just kill it in Ant-Man 3, and here he is killing it in Creed 3? Shit. This dude Damien has to play it cool to get what he wants, and slowly but surely you see his character flesh out into the villain of our story, and it just, what a job. Great job. And he's also got all the motivation in the world. He believes that Adonis, this dude he considered a brother, abandoned him for 18 years while he was in prison. And you know what? He's not really wrong. And while he's in prison, he sees Adonis rise up and live this glorious life, becoming a world champion of boxing. He believes that was supposed to be him. That was supposed to be his life. Motivation! And now that he's out, he wants that life. Motivation. One other thing that I wanted to point out about these two dudes. That time in Adonis's past that he's always been trying to forget was arguably the worst time in his life. While for Damien, it was the best time of his life. That conflict of different perspectives and that crossover creates this spark. It's more than enough for this base layer of character friction, but they do more with it and they add more layers. So these two characters are the driving force of the whole movie. And everything that's happening in this is weighing on that conflict, and it's a great conflict. The rest of the cast are those staples of the Creed movies that we've grown to know and love, and they all did a great job playing those roles. However, there was one missing that left a hole in my heart. Rocky fucking Balboa. There's no Rocky to be seen here. I'm gonna touch on that in a minute. So, how was part 3 of this Creed trilogy? I thought it was fucking great. No joke. This is a great movie. I had my reservations going into it because this is the first time Michael B. Jordan has directed anything, but I was really impressed with how well he did, especially the boxing scenes. Wow. He made them intense and personal and emotional, and I felt like I was right in it with those boxers. I also saw an interview of his where he said he used anime as his inspiration. If you know the specific animes that he's talking about, then keep an eye out because there are some sweet references. The thing that caught me off guard here that really made me love it was how well the story is built. There's this tension that starts out early on, And it just naturally builds and builds until eventually it boils over. And by the time that tension is about to snap, you are so ready for a fucking fight. And I'm telling you, it was effective enough for the audience I was with to clap and cheer during the last fight. Not when the fight was over, during the movie. And you know what? It deserved the cheers. I also thought that the screenplay was tight, did not leave much room for plot holes. There are a couple questionable things, but it's so easy to overlook. Now, as much as I love this, it's not perfect. I did have a couple issues. Here's a small one. The timeline. The dates that they use don't add up in my head. And I believe that they never mentioned the ages of any of the boxers. I'm pretty sure Adonis is pushing 40. And Damien is older than Adonis. So I did find that a little bit distracting. There were also a couple scenes that were cut faster than I expected. Sometimes a character is about to wrap up and finish saying something, but instead of that, they just cut to a new scene. It wasn't obnoxious, but it did make me go, don't think he was done talking. Okay. The one big issue with Creed 3. There's no fucking Rocky. From what I understand, Sylvester Stallone refused to be in this because somehow the Rocky rights were taken from him. I'm not 100% sure about that, but it was enough to make Sylvester Stallone walk away.
And the thing is, I don't care about the money. I wanted to leave it to my children. When I'm long gone, this is you.
Right.
This is what I made for you.
This is part of my legacy.
That's
that
all.
I...
And that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So I can't forgive that.
Right. Do you have do you feel like can never watch Creed 3 kind of thing?
Never.
Yeah.
No.
And if that is the case, then he's justified in doing that because it is bullshit. I physically felt the lack of Rocky. His presence needed to be in this. Even if it was just for a split second of one scene, I needed to physically see Rocky. Adonis is the one that took over his legacy, and Rocky was like a father to him, and he was such a huge part of the last two movies. There's no way he wouldn't be there for Adonis in this. I just wanted a motivational Rocky speech, okay? Other than that, I thought it was a great experience. I had an awesome time. You watch Rocky movies for a great training montage, right? Well, we got it. I'll say this. I don't think it was as good as the first. Better than Creed 2. If this is where they decide to leave the franchise, I think it's a solid trilogy that they can be proud of that does stand on its own. Okay? See ya. Subscribe. So, Creed 1, Rocky Balboa, talking about Adrian and how he lost her to cancer and what she means to him and what she meant to him. I cried hard. Hard crying. Creed 2, I'm like, okay. I know that Sylvester can get me going. Not going to let him get me this time. Sure enough, waterworks. And then here we are, Creed 3. Sylvester Stallone's not in this. There's no chance he's going to make me cry. And then out of left field, Felicia Rashad. She got me right here. You old bitch.